The door slammed shut behind Zeke with a finality that echoed through the quiet suburban street in rural Ohio. At 14, he stood frozen on the porch, his backpack slung over one shoulder, clutching a crumpled note from his father that read, "No son of mine will live like this. Get out and don't come back." The shock hit him like a freight train. He had been caught kissing his best friend in the basement, a secret moment of vulnerability exposed by a nosy sibling, and now his world had shattered in an instant. Zeke's legs buckled as he stumbled down the steps, the summer sun beating down mercilessly on his tear-streaked face. He had nowhere to go, no relatives who would understand, no friends whose parents wouldn't judge. That night, he slept in a park, huddled under a bench, his mind racing with questions. Why me? What did I do wrong? The next morning, hunger gnawed at him, forcing a decision. He hitched a ride to Columbus, the nearest city, lying about his age to anyone who asked. Survival became his only focus. He scavenged for food in dumpsters and avoided the cops, knowing foster care might be worse than the streets. Days turned into weeks, and Zeke learned the harsh lessons of independence far too young. He found a shelter for homeless youth, but the place was overcrowded, filled with stories sadder than his own. There, he met Marcus, an older teen who had been kicked out for similar reasons. Marcus showed him the ropes, how to panhandle without getting arrested, where to find free meals at churches. But Marcus also carried a weight, his eyes haunted by betrayal from a family that claimed to love him unconditionally. "They say blood is thicker than water," Marcus muttered one evening as they shared a stolen sandwich. "But hate cuts deeper than any bond." Zeke's internal turmoil raged like a storm. He replayed the scene in his head. His father's furious face, his mother's silent tears, his younger brother's confused stare. Was being gay really a sin, as his conservative church had preached every Sunday? The sermons echoed in his mind, condemning him to eternal damnation. Yet, in quiet moments, Zeke felt a spark of defiance. He wasn't broken, he was just different. But doubt crept in. Maybe if he had hidden better, prayed harder, this wouldn't have happened. The pressure to conform, even in exile, weighed on him, making every breath a battle. As months passed, Zeke scraped together odd jobs, washing dishes at a diner under the table, mowing lawns for cash. He enrolled in a public high school using a fake address, determined not to let his circumstances define him. Academics became his escape. He excelled in math and science, dreaming of a future where he could prove everyone wrong. But loneliness gnawed at him. He avoided crushes, fearing more rejection. One day, in the school library, he met Tyler, a quiet boy with kind eyes who shared his love for books. Their conversation started innocently, but Zeke felt a pull he couldn't ignore. Was this worth the risk? The decision to open up again would cost him, but isolation was already tearing him apart. The turning point came when Marcus overdosed on pills from the shelter's medicine cabinet, a desperate escape from his pain. Zeke found him just in time, calling 911 with shaking hands. As paramedics rushed in, Zeke realized he couldn't let despair win. He vowed to fight, not just for survival but for a life worth living. With Marcus recovering, Zeke pushed harder, applying for scholarships and part-time work. But the scars remained. Every achievement was tainted by the abandonment. How could he build a future on such fractured foundations? The answer eluded him, but the drive to succeed burned brighter. By 16, Zeke had saved enough for a tiny apartment shared with other runaways. He juggled school and 2 jobs, his body exhausted but his spirit unyielding. Letters from home arrived sporadically, his mother pleading for him to change, his father silent. Each one reopened wounds, forcing him to confront the moral dilemma: forgive or forget. Society's gaze followed him too. Whispers in hallways, judgmental stares from strangers. Being gay in America wasn't easy, especially for a kid on his own. Yet, in Tyler's friendship, he found a glimmer of hope. Their bond deepened, but Zeke hesitated. Trust was a luxury he couldn't afford to lose again. College in New York City hit Zeke like a whirlwind, a far cry from Ohio's stifling small-town life. With a full scholarship to NYU, earned through sheer grit and late-night study sessions, he stepped into a world of possibilities. But the city's vibrancy couldn't erase the shadows of his past. On his first day, he met Ethan in a literature class. A charismatic guy with a warm smile and an easy laugh that made Zeke's heart skip. Ethan was openly gay, unapologetic in a way Zeke envied. Their debates over books turned into coffee dates, and soon, tentative touches that ignited something deep within. Zeke's internal conflict intensified. Ethan represented freedom, but opening up meant vulnerability. What if he leaves when he knows my story? Zeke thought, lying awake in his dorm. He confided bits and pieces, the eviction, the streets, but held back the raw pain. Ethan listened, his empathy a balm, but Zeke sensed the gap. Society's pressures loomed. Even in progressive New York, homophobia lingered in subtle ways. Stares on the subway, slurs from passers-by. Zeke joined an LGBTQ plus support group on campus, where stories mirrored his own, fueling his anger at a world that demanded conformity. As their relationship blossomed, Zeke faced family echoes. A call from his mother arrived unexpectedly, her voice trembling. "Your father had a heart attack. Come home." The decision tore at him. Return and face the demons or stay and build his new life. He chose to go, Ethan by his side for moral support. The drive back to Ohio was tense, filled with arguments about forgiveness. "They don't deserve you," Ethan said. But Zeke replied, "Maybe I need closure." At the hospital, his father's frail form shocked him. Words were exchanged, regrets from his dad, guarded hope from Zeke. But his mother whispered, "Don't bring that lifestyle here," reigniting old wounds. Back in New York, the trip strained their bond. Ethan pushed for more commitment, wanting to go public, while Zeke hesitated, fearing backlash. A campus event turned ugly when protesters shouted slurs, reminding Zeke of his fragility. He pulled away, burying himself in studies. But Ethan confronted him. "You're letting fear win." The argument escalated, words like daggers. Zeke stormed out, regretting it instantly. The price of love was exposure, and he wasn't sure he could pay it. Months later, Zeke graduated with honors, landing a job at a tech startup. Success tasted sweet, but hollow without resolution. Ethan proposed moving in together, a leap that thrilled and terrified Zeke. He agreed, but doubts festered. Family calls increased. His brother, now an adult, reached out secretly, admitting guilt for ratting him out years ago. "I was scared," his brother said. Zeke forgave, but the betrayal lingered, a moral quandary. Blood ties versus self-preservation? Society's mirror reflected harshly. At work, Zeke hid his relationship, fearing discrimination. A promotion hung in the balance, and coming out could jeopardize it. Ethan urged honesty, but Zeke chose silence, a decision that sparked more fights. "You're ashamed of us," Ethan accused. The tension built, leading to a night where Zeke confessed everything. The streets, the hunger, the fear. Ethan held him, but the damage was done. Trust cracked under pressure. As the year ended, Zeke stood at a crossroads. His career soared, but personal life teetered. A surprise visit from his mother brought more drama. She saw Ethan and recoiled, forcing Zeke to defend his choices. "This is who I am," he declared, but her tears cut deep. The confrontation awakened him. Hiding wasn't living. But the cost? Potential loss of family, job security. Ethan's patience waned, hinting at ultimatums. Zeke realized love demanded sacrifice, but which way to turn? The corporate ladder climbed steeply for Zeke, now 24 and a rising star in Silicon Valley after relocating for a better job. San Francisco's liberal vibe eased some tensions, but internal storms raged. Ethan had followed, their relationship a delicate balance of passion and friction. But family shadows lengthened. His father's health declined, pulling Zeke back into the orbit of Ohio's conservatism. A weekend visit turned explosive when his father, in a moment of lucidity, demanded, "Renounce this sin, or you're dead to me." Zeke left in fury, the words echoing like a death knell. Back home, Ethan comforted him, but the strain showed. "We can't keep doing this," Ethan said, his voice breaking. Zeke's silence spoke volumes. Fear of loss paralyzed him. Society amplified the pressure. At work, a colleague's outing led to subtle demotions, whispering campaigns. Zeke witnessed it, vowing secrecy, but Ethan pushed for marriage equality rallies, dragging Zeke into the spotlight. "Stand with me," he pleaded. Zeke attended one, heart-pounding, but a photo went viral, reaching his family. The backlash was swift, disownment emails, hateful calls. The moral conflict deepened. Was pride worth familial rupture? Zeke grappled with guilt, questioning if his choices hurt others. His brother, now an ally, mediated secretly, but their parents remained unyielding. "They're products of their time," his brother said, but Zeke retorted, "That doesn't excuse hate." The divide widened, forcing Zeke to choose sides. In therapy, he unpacked layers: abandonment trauma, internalized homophobia. Sessions revealed how his decisions stemmed from survival instincts, but now they hindered growth. A betrayal blindsided him. Ethan, frustrated by Zeke's hesitance, confided in a friend who leaked details online. The post went semi-viral in LGBTQ+ circles, painting Zeke as a victim but exposing his vulnerabilities. Hurt and furious, Zeke confronted Ethan. "You had no right." Ethan apologized, claiming it was to help, but trust fractured. The damage rippled: work rumors, family outrage. Zeke considered ending it, the pain too raw. But love lingered, a tether amid chaos. Society's lens sharpened focus. Protests erupted over anti-gay bills, pulling Zeke in. He spoke at an event, voice trembling, sharing his story. Applause followed, but so did threats, anonymous messages, doxing attempts. The price of visibility was safety. Zeke installed security, paranoia setting in. Ethan stood by, but arguments escalated. "You're pulling away again," he accused. Zeke admitted fear, but the cycle repeated. As tensions peaked, Zeke's father passed away. The funeral was a battlefield. Relatives shunned him, whispers of abomination. His mother, grief-stricken, blamed him. "Your lifestyle killed him." The accusation shattered Zeke, sparking a meltdown. Back in San Francisco, he isolated, questioning every choice. Was coming out a mistake? Ethan offered an ultimatum: commit fully or let go. The decision loomed, heavy with consequences. Reconciliation attempts with his mother failed. She clung to doctrine, refusing therapy. Zeke's brother defected partially, torn between loyalties. The family mired in ethical debates, love versus belief. Zeke realized change might never come, forcing acceptance of loss. But the toll? Emotional exhaustion, strained romance. Betrayal's sting deepened as Zeke navigated the aftermath. At 25, his tech firm promoted him to lead developer, but personal life unraveled. Ethan's leak had unintended consequences. A journalist contacted Zeke for an interview, thrusting him into public eye. He declined, but the story ran anyway, sensationalized. Family cut ties completely. His mother changed her number. His brother went silent under pressure. The isolation hit hard, echoing his teenage eviction. Ethan begged forgiveness, but Zeke's trust waned. "How can I build with you if you expose me?" he asked. They separated temporarily, Ethan moving out. Alone, Zeke dove into work, but nights brought torment. Internal monologues raged. Was forgiveness weakness? Society judged harshly. Online trolls attacked, praising or condemning his victimhood. He joined advocacy groups, channeling pain into action, but exhaustion crept in. A new conflict arose at work. A project involved partnering with a conservative firm known for anti-LGBTQ plus donations. Zeke faced a dilemma: speak up and risk his job, or stay silent and betray his principles. He chose confrontation, emailing HR. Backlash followed: subtle retaliation, missed opportunities. The moral trade-off weighed heavy: career versus integrity. Colleagues divided, some supportive, others distant. Reconnecting with old friends from the shelter, Zeke learned Marcus had turned his life around, now a counselor. Their reunion stirred emotions. Marcus urged reconciliation with Ethan. "Love like that is rare," he said. Zeke pondered, but pride held him back. Meanwhile, societal shifts offered hope. Marriage equality passed, but backlash brewed. Zeke attended Pride events, feeling empowered yet exposed. The turning point: Ethan showed up at Zeke's door, remorseful, with proof he'd deleted all traces of the leak. They talked for hours, unpacking hurts. Zeke forgave, but with conditions: therapy together. Their reunion was tentative, built on fragile trust. But family voids persisted. A letter from his mother arrived, disowning him formally. The pain reignited anger, leading to a reckless decision. Zeke publicly shared his story on social media, naming his family's hypocrisy. The post exploded, garnering support but also hate. Death threats arrived, forcing Zeke to relocate temporarily. Ethan stood by, but the strain tested them. "Is this worth it?" Ethan asked. Zeke nodded, but doubt lingered. The price of authenticity was peril. He hired protection, paranoia peaking. As the year closed, Zeke's career suffered, a demotion disguised as restructuring. He questioned if advocacy was self-sabotage. Ethical quandaries multiplied. Fight or flee. Love demanded resilience, but at what cost? Wounds festered as Zeke approached 26, his life a tapestry of triumphs and traumas. The public exposure brought opportunities: a book deal offered to chronicle his journey, but also relentless scrutiny. He accepted, pouring pain into pages, but the process unearthed buried resentments. Therapy with Ethan helped, but sessions revealed Zeke's fear of abandonment mirroring his past. "I'm always waiting for the door to slam," he admitted. Society's evolution clashed with regression. New laws threatened rights, pulling Zeke into activism. He spoke at rallies, voiced stronger, but each event drained him. A confrontation with counter-protesters turned physical. Shoves, slurs, leaving bruises and shaken resolve. Ethan worried, "You're destroying yourself." Zeke snapped back, "Silence destroys more." Their relationship teetered, love strained by ideology. Family remnants crumbled. His brother reached out, conflicted. "Mom's ill, but she won't see you." Zeke visited anyway, sneaking into the hospital. The reunion was bittersweet. His mother, weakened, whispered regrets but clung to beliefs. "I love you, but..." The unfinished sentence cut deep. Zeke left, torn between compassion and self-respect. The moral debate raged: duty to family versus self-care? At work, redemption came, a new role at a progressive company, embracing his identity. But past demotions haunted, fueling imposter syndrome. Ethan proposed, a romantic gesture amid chaos. Zeke said yes, but doubts surfaced. Wedding planning highlighted divides. Inviting family? The decision sparked fights. Zeke wanted inclusion. Ethan saw toxicity. A betrayal from within. A friend from advocacy leaked private emails, twisting words for drama. Trust shattered again. Zeke withdrew. Isolation returned, echoing teenage nights. He questioned everything. Was visibility a curse? Ethan comforted, but the cycle exhausted them. Awakening dawned during a solo trip to Ohio's old haunts. Standing outside his childhood home, now sold, Zeke confronted ghosts. Tears flowed, releasing pent-up grief. He realized survival wasn't enough. Thriving required release. Back home, he recommitted to Ethan, vowing openness. But costs mounted, health declined from stress, therapy intensified. Society's mirror reflected progress, but personal tolls loomed. Zeke pondered. Was the fight worth the scars? The decade culminated in a poignant return. At 24, no, 24 was earlier. Now at 24 plus 10 from 14 makes 24? Wait, kicked out at 14, 10 years later is 24. But narrative progressed to 26. Adjust mentally. The return at 24, but story spanned. 10 years after the eviction, Zeke, now 24, stood before his childhood home in Ohio, keys in hand. He had bought it anonymously through a trust, a symbol of reclamation. Success in tech afforded this millions from a startup sale. But the act wasn't vengeance. It was closure. Ethan by his side, they approached the door his father once slammed. Inside, memories flooded, good and bad. Zeke had invited his family, a final olive branch. His mother arrived alone, widowed, brother in tow. The confrontation unfolded tensely. Why? She asked, seeing the deed. Zeke replied, to show I survived despite you. Tears flowed. Regrets aired. His mother admitted fears, societal pressures shaping her. I was wrong, she whispered. Forgiveness hung in the air, partial and painful. But full reconciliation, elusive. His brother embraced him, but divides remained, beliefs versus acceptance. Society watched. Zeke's story, now a book, sparked debates. Backlash persisted, but support grew. Ethan and he married quietly, a victory amid strife. The journey's price. Lost years, broken trusts, emotional scars. Zeke reflected on choices, hiding versus fighting, forgiveness versus boundaries. Each decision carried weight, shaping him. In the end, as he turned the key, Zeke pondered. Was reclaiming the past a triumph, or just another chain? But one question lingers for all. In a world of clashing morals, is unconditional love a right, or a privilege earned through pain?